Hey again, everyone. Welcome to my very first KOIN Conversations here on KOIN Plus. I could not be more thrilled to have a legendary MLB umpire joining us. I mean, he spent 30 years in the game, umpiring games, ultimately retiring back in 2017. Now he's 9 years away from the game, and Jim's living the good life in retirement and watching from afar from his home in Beaverton. I am so pleased to welcome in the great Jim Joyce to the program. And we do this, and there he is.
Go.
How's it going, my friend?
Not too bad. I tell you what, hold it down on the legendaries and the greats and everything like that. I'm just Jim Joyce. I am in beautiful Beaverton, Oregon, though.
Yes,
So
that is right.
yes.
You are. We are darn near neighbors, my friend.
Yes, we are. Just a
Yes.
stone's throw away now.
And well, I said you're far away from the game, but let's just kind of get the elephant out of the room. We talked off air just about this very briefly, and you said you do this twice a week because you and Dale Scott, another incredible MLB umpire, have a podcast that you started up, and it's called INN, the Clubhouse. So how has that been for you so far?
It's actually in the umpires clubhouse
Let's make
because
a
we are
correction.
umpires, and believe it or not, we didn't start that name. It was the host, quote unquote, the host, Bob Busser, came up with that name, and he was doing it before we were even on. And I don't know where he came up with that, but that is true. Dale Scott and I and Bob Busser, we do a podcast. We've been very fortunate with some of the people that have come on. Just a shameless plug. We've done Bob Costas. We've done Ken Griffey Jr. We're looking to do you if you weren't so busy because you know
I've
you're
got
there.
longevity. I don't have 30 years like you, but
Well,
darn
we
near
did
25 in
we did
Portland.
Canzano. We
Yeah.
did John. Kind of plugged his golf tournament right
Hmm.
before it came on and stuff. We've done numerous umpires. Believe it or not, our biggest podcast so far has been Bob Davidson, Balkan Bob Davidson.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes, he's
Okay.
he's gotten more views, but he's funny as hell. So you can kind of see it if you just tune into it right away and get him. You'll watch the rest of it just to see what's going to come out of his mouth next. So, and
I love it.
we had an R rating before we told him that he had to watch it. So,
Well, what have you learned about yourself during this new era of multimedia and social media and everything? Everyone wants to hear from guys of the past and
yeah,
want to kind of dig into their minds a little bit. So, what have you learned about yourself during this whole podcast venture?
that I can think and talk fast on my 2 feet. I
Hmm.
can. I mean, of course, as an umpire, you had to be able to do that anyway.
Right.
Uh, I'm not so sure about all the social media part of it. It's good, bad, and sometimes very indifferent, in my humble opinion. Uh, Part of it is that people can hide behind a lot of stuff, and they can say whatever they want and hide behind it. So I have a little problem with that.
Yeah.
But overall wise, for the sports media part of it and everything like that, I think it's great. I think it's
Hmm.
great. I've learned that uh, talking about yourself and and trying to portray yourself the way you want other people to portray you is hard because I'm not that way. I usually don't self promote, and I try really hard not to self promote, as a matter of fact. But you know, I try to stay as on subject and public matter as I possibly can, and I try not to offend anybody. As a matter of fact, our podcast is so harmless. It is nothing more than fun. That's all it is.
Mm.
And we don't get into anything outside of just having fun. There's no politics, there's no backstabbing, there's no calling people out, nothing like that. And we just enjoy ourselves. We just have fun doing
How do you get no politics with Dale Scott?
it because he's been warned.
That's all he does
No,
is talk politics. And
oh,
we're going
he's
to
so,
stop that talk right now. We're not going
and
to get Dale into trouble or you
he
or I.
is, but he is so good at it
Oh,
though.
God.
So, but I agree with you. It's a turn to the right we don't want to go to right now. And I only mean that in direction wise. I
Right.
don't mean anything else other than that. Because he's definitely
Oh,
not right
no, he's not. No, he's not.
in more
Oh.
ways than one.
Oh gosh, I remember doing that story with you and Dale, which crazy to even think has been a couple of years ago, and you were both
Yeah.
so generous with your time. And I got the vibe from you early on, like, you and I would be cool just going out, grabbing a beer, and just shooting the breeze for a bit. And you were very open, and you mentioned the call, obviously, that defines you and, well, defined you, I guess, at that time. And we just passed the 15-year anniversary of it. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that you still think about that every single day.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, it's still true. Absolutely, it is. When I walk in this room,
Mm,
this is my upstairs bonus room
yeah.
that was kind of taken over a hobby that's kind of gone awry. And, there's baseball stuff behind me. That was my life for 40 years, 41 years. But coming into this room, there's a picture right outside the door.
Mm,
And it's the picture of Armando and I at home plate.
mm,
And that was sent to me by the Chicago Tribune. And that was on their front page the next day. Or to
mm.
take that back, that would have been that Thursday.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, because Wednesday I had the plate when he came out. And so, I don't shy away from things that are going to make me think about it either.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't define me. It doesn't define me as far in my heart. It doesn't define me as an umpire and what kind of umpire I was. Um, I always tried to. Well, you know my career, and
Yes.
I'm not like I said. I don't self promote, so.
Right. Right.
Um, but it's good to be reminded of things that keep you grounded,
Yeah.
and it's something that I don't want to stop thinking about.
Mm.
Because I don't do it as a horror show or anything like that or self-deprecation or anything. It's just part of my life, and I'll never get away from it,
Mm.
no matter how hard I try, and I don't try to get away from it in the first place. So I might as well see it as I like to see it on my terms.
And I think everyone who watched that play, it almost couldn't have happened against a more forgiving person like Armando, right? I
Right.
mean, some people would hold that grudge. He's out there the next day exchanging lineup cards with
Right.
you. That
Absolutely.
says everything you need to know about him as a person. It was like, life happens.
That's what perpetuates the story, and that's why the other side of the story is so good.
Mm.
And it's so supportive is because of that gesture there. And then afterwards, the explanations that I tried to give as eloquently as I could, which I didn't do a great job at, but I just poured it from my heart.
Sure.
And then everything that transpired after that. So this could have been a bloodbath.
Yeah, no
This
doubt.
could have been a bloodbath.
No
I mean, I've
doubt.
had bigger arguments on check swings. And I don't mean to, and
No,
I don't mean it to be funny. I'm dead serious about that.
absolutely.
I've
Wow.
had ejections over check swings, and this, I've always said when it started, I always said I don't know why this happened, but there has to be a reason.
Mm.
Still haven't come up with that reason yet, but it plays itself out every day on certain things.
Well, every talking head, Jim, on TV says that you're a man with incredible integrity, high morals, generally just an incredible, caring man. I know that. But how does that make you feel when you hear something like that, when people are talking about you, the person, kind of away from the game?
I make sure my wife is sitting there with me listening. She's
Smart.
she's awesome. She had to live this too. So,
Yeah.
and we talk about it when things like this come up. When I'm doing a podcast, or if it's subject specific, like we're talking about right now to a certain degree,
Uh-huh.
she's very supportive to this day. As a matter of fact, my wife has gone out, and if we meet some people and they know that I'm an umpire, Kay is not afraid to basically say he was considered one of the best umpires, but he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then it's everybody makes a mistake, and it's you can live with your mistakes if you take them head on. And like I said, she had to live it. My son had to live it. My daughter had to live it. They were all involved in this, so this just wasn't one guy or me. It was a family of four.
Soon thereafter, instant replay came in.
Yep.
And who knows? Maybe that was right, right? Pat yourself on the back. Please do. But
Do you know
with
what though,
instant
Adam?
yeah, go ahead.
Instant replay didn't come into play until 2014.
Hmm.
The call happened in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We had replay, quote unquote, replay. We had it, but it was only for boundaries and home runs. It was fair foul,
Mm-hmm.
home runs. I have been asked 1,000,002 times, why couldn't you go to replay? That was the reason.
Hmm.
We actually had an umpire at one time went to a camera booth and went to the camera and had them reverse a call or rewind the call that he had, and he came out and changed the call, and he actually, I'm not gonna say got in trouble, but they said you can't do that because at that time the traditionalists and everything like that. Do I wish things were different on that certain day and after that certain call? Yeah, I wish somebody would have came up to me and kicked me in the ass and said, Jimmy, maybe you want to rethink this one. But I can't blame anybody else for not doing that. I mean, it
Sure.
maybe it was meant to be.
Mm.
And but replay didn't come in for another 4 years.
Mm.
Full replay, full blown. As a matter of fact, I worked the last World Series in 2013 with the last no replay for a World Series or
Mm.
playoffs or whatever, and we had plays all over the field.
Mm.
If you remember, that was whackers at first, second, third, obstruction at third base, pickoff play at first base that ended the game, obstruction play at third base that ended the game. We had it all, and not one time did we go to replay. And we were
Right.
and lucky we got them all right. We got
Yeah.
them right. And
Wow.
so replay was instituted the next year, full blown after that. And I'm a full proponent of replay. I wish there was more, as a matter of fact,
Mm.
because now that they have instantaneous response, they're wired up on the field. They talk right to a camera immediately. They talk to New York immediately, and usually within 30 seconds, maybe even 10 to 30 seconds, the outcome is generated to the fans. And I think they still haven't done this, and this is one of my pet peeves. I wish the crew chief on the field had the right to go to replay anytime he wants.
Mm.
That's my little public announcement for
Yeah.
baseball,
Yeah.
which I still haven't listened to yet. So,
Hey, you've lived through it all, though. I mean, with replay and without replay, and by and large, the human element is so much a part of baseball.
yeah,
I think 2 years ago when you and I and Dale were all together, I think we talked about the robo umps behind home plate. Do you think that is eventually coming? I know they've dealt with it in the minor league level, but it's been successful from what I've heard.
we'll
But
see
I'm seeing
tonight.
some calls. I watch a lot of baseball, and some calls I'm seeing are, they're this far off the plate, this far off the plate, and they're being called strikes. And I'm like, what is going on?
We'll see tonight.
Mm.
We'll see tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight's going to be the first time they use quote unquote robo umpire for the game tonight. Danny Isonia has the plate. He's a great veteran umpire, a great ball strike umpire, and I hope it goes well. I
Mm-hmm.
just hope it goes well. And it's going to be the type of where they're going to have a challenge. I don't know specifically how many challenges they're going to get tonight or if they're going to expand the challenges or whatever. I don't know. But I will say this also. it's a lot of pressure on Danny Iasonia.
Mm.
It's the first time it's going to be used in a Major League Baseball game. And I was telling Kay a little bit earlier, how would you like to be in Danny's shoes right now, where you're going to go out there and be the first guy in the major leagues history, and you're going to have automated strike zone, call the pitches, and um, you're going to have to once again, in the old phrase of an umpire, you're going to have to be perfect and then better than perfect.
Yeah,
So
and
we'll see. We'll
and as
see. I hope
we're
that's not the story tonight. I really
mhm.
do. I hope that's not the story.
And as we're recording this, this is on July 15th, and Jim's talking about the Major League All-Star game that is coming up later tonight. Speaking of baseball and great moments, because you've done quite a few All-Star games, right? How many have you
I've
done?
got three. I've
Three.
done three.
What is your favorite? This might be a loaded question, Jim, but what is your favorite moment in baseball? Whether you work the game or not, do you have
Oh,
one that is just like that one makes the hair on my arm stand up every time?
okay, I can actually go to that one pretty quick.
Good.
There's a lot of them, but
Yeah.
there's one that's in particular. I was working the 2013 World Series Game 6 behind the plate, Boston, St. Louis. If Boston wins, it's the first time in 95 years that Boston wins a World Series at home. I'm working the plate, and I believe it was the fifth inning, bottom of the fifth inning in Boston. Bases are loaded, and Victorino hits one off the monster. And all three runners score, and Johnny Gomes is the last one to slide in at home plate. And it's behind my, I think it's back there. Yes, it's
Oh,
behind my
yeah.
right. Well, looking at it, I'm
Yeah.
dyslexic. I wouldn't know which shoulder it is.
Listexic.
Yeah, but there's a play at the plate with Yadier Molina and Johnny Gomes, and behind that is David Ortiz, Xavier Bogarts, and OSU,
Oh, yeah. Jacoby
Jacoby,
Ellsbury.
Jacoby, and
Yeah.
they're all calling safe,
Safe.
and I'm calling safe. And naturally, at that particular time, it was not that big a deal because I couldn't see behind me, obviously.
Yeah.
And Mike Matheny came out, and Mike, you know how away the game's going and stuff like that. Mike had that look in his eye, like the wheels are coming off a little bit. And he looked at me and he says, "Jimmy, is there any sense of me even arguing this play?" I said, "No, Mike, because I got this one. I got this one pretty correct, I believe." He just kind of said, "Okay, Jimmy," and he shook his head a couple more times just to let the crowd know that he was given, what everybody thought was his 2 cents. And he kind of gave me that look, and he was one of my favorite catchers in the game of baseball. I loved that guy behind the plate when we worked
Mhm.
together. And he just walked off the field, and I had an argument with him at every base, or not an argument, but discussions. I had literally, third base with the obstruction, second base on a catch no catch, out at second, and a whacker at first, and then a whacker at the plate.
Mm.
And that one comes to my mind because after the fact, the next day that pitcher came out,
Mm.
and it was considered one of the top sports 100 pitchers of all time.
Wow.
And I said it's not because of that, but it's really a cool picture, but it's also really cool because I'm in it. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
I
validation. You
yeah, it's
have the
very yeah.
stars behind you all
And
calling the
and and
same song.
then and then afterwards, I was actually Kate brings it up every once in a while, and I don't know why she does, but she brought it up on YouTube, and the commentary by Joe Buck. When Johnny Gomes slides into the plate, Joe Buck goes, and he's safe at the plate. And Jim Joyce got that one right. It was kind of like he had that one before. We're not going to talk about it, but he got this one right for sure. So,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
listen to that and I think to myself, I got a lot of calls right in the major leagues,
Yes,
even
you
the
did.
minor leagues. I got calls right, but that's that just comes to my mind as one of my favorite places and favorite things that happen on a baseball field.
Oh my
I was there
gosh.
for Nolan Ryan's 5,000 strikeout. I was at second base. That was awesome.
Nice.
Paul Molitor, 39th, 39 hits in a row at that particular time. I was there. Uh, Robin Yount's 3,000 hit. I mean,
Hmm.
I know those are things for the players to celebrate, but
Sure.
I would, and so a lot of it was pretty cool. So,
Jeez. I love talking about the stories about Ricky Henderson, who was my childhood idol, and unfortunately we lost him this last
right.
December. Um, I just keep thinking like somehow someday when I first started on TV in Portland, it was early 2000s and Vera Katz was the mayor, and here we are going to get the Montreal Expos to Portland. They're going to play here at what was then I think PGE Park maybe.
Right.
Um,
Or could have been
yeah,
still Civic Stadium.
yeah, Civic. It could have been. You're right,
I worked
but
8 years in that stadium.
you what?
I worked 8 years in that
Did
stadium.
you?
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, in the minor leagues.
Yeah, sure, sure.
I was 8 years in the Coast League.
Wow. Yeah, I remember watching Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire come hit it off the Oregonian building during
Exactly.
batting practice.
Louis Tion played for the Portland Beavers.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. Vance Law.
Hmm.
There was a lot of players. I remember McGuire, Canseco. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
quite a few.
So the reason I bring this up is for obviously the other elephant in the room is Portland. Are they going to get a Major League Baseball expansion team? Maybe in your lifetime, my lifetime, or are we going to see it? I think right now we are closer than we've ever been. You've got the state legislator, the legislation has voted to approve it. The Senate's approved it. The mayor's approved, or the governor's approved it. Will baseball consider
Hmm.
Portland as an expansion city? I mean, I think we're more ready now than ever before, Jim.
That's a $64 million question.
Yeah.
Um, um, Commissioner Manfred, I'm not privy to any information from their thinking on it. When I was still working, I used to joke around with him about getting Portland a team all the time.
Yeah.
And he would always say it's in the cards, but that was a non-committal answer all the time. And
Hmm.
I'm along with you 1,010%. Baseball deserves to be in Portland because Portland is a Major League Baseball city. Um, when I worked in the Coast League, they were great fans, for the Portland Beavers. They were really, really good fans, and they deserve it actually. And I hate to call ourselves a one-horse town,
Hmm.
but we are right now. We just have the Blazers. I think we should have. I don't know if they'd be called the Portland Beavers or the Portland Buckaroos, or my
Hmm.
father-in-law used on Old Vaughn Street. I'm not from here, and I don't know where Vaughn Street is, but he used to tell me stories about doing security when he was a cop downtown Portland at Vaughn Street for the, the Portland Beavers at that time. And I, the only problem is right now, there's a lot of backing in Portland, the state. There's just nothing to put here yet. And that's the problem. Now, if he expands, is he going to expand to Portland? That's going to be that's the question. If they do expand, are they coming to Portland? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We
We,
deserve it.
yeah, we do. We do. We've been through with this for 20 plus years. Salt Lake City seems to have a step above us, but does anyone want to play in Utah? I don't
Mm.
know. No.
I did in the minor leagues. Salt Lake City was one of the
Oh, the
Coast League
bees.
teams. It's a beautiful city. It's great.
Joe
But with these,
Buzis?
pardon me.
Joe Buzis? Wasn't he the owner? He
Busis
was
was the owner here in
the
Portland at
Portland
one time.
Beavers, but didn't he move them to Salt Lake? I thought.
Yeah, he probably
Yeah.
did because
Yeah.
for some reason Salt Lake lost their team,
Yeah.
and I think '85 was the last time they had a team there.
Well, relationships obviously across this industry, the sports industry, are pretty beautiful, and I'm guessing some of the closest. And we've just got just another minute or two. Um, I'm guessing some of your closest relationships came from your time in baseball, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of relationships here in Portland because I was always gone, and my family's my relationship. I have some close immediate friends, but yeah, most of my my quote unquote close friends are all from baseball. Bob Davidson's a close friend. Tim McClellan in Iowa. We don't get to see each other anymore though, because that's one thing about baseball. We always look forward to seeing that person in spring training or the league meetings, and we got to all get together during those times and things. And most of my friends are in other cities
Yeah.
because I spent most
How
of the
many
time.
airline miles do you got?
I just spent a boatload of them to go back to Toledo, Ohio, to visit my brother and his daughters who just graduated from. So I'm still spending them. I mean,
Of course you are.
that's still a few years later. So I'm almost at the end of those though. But
How many miles do
I
you think
had
you
I
ever
had friends
travel?
I had friends in every city, and it was always fun to see those. As a matter of fact, they always say, "What do you miss the most?" I miss my friends in other cities who I'm
Hmm.
still in contact with, but it's now by text messaging, phone calling. It's not sitting down and having dinner or having a drink together.
Sure.
That it's not like that anymore. So
How many
I
miles do
miss
you
that
think?
part.
Yeah, I bet. How many miles do you think you traveled? Did you ever try to add that up like over time?
No, not
I
really.
mean,
I'm not very
millions
good at
and
I'm
millions
not
of
very good
miles.
at math. I mean, including the Coast League and
Yeah.
uh wow. I mean, the Coast League was what, 11 years in the Coast League, and 41 years of flying. Wow. I
Hmm.
wouldn't even venture to guess. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they always said they tried to cut down on travel. Well, I never saw that part because we were always traveling. I think he meant the teams. They were going to cut down on team travel because we still crisscross the country. So,
Right, right. Wow.
but
Jim, we could do this honestly for hours on end, but I would like to do this again. I would like to just sit down and just chat some more. Like I said, I'm going to bring some beer over to your house. We're going to shoot the breeze for an
absolutely.
hour or two coming up here soon. But in the interim, thank you so much, Jim Joyce, a legendary, I'm going with it again, legendary MLB umpire. And he asked me to be a guest on his show with Dale Scott. I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
Sometime,
Absolutely.
sometime when the
W-
when life starts to slow down.
We are in hiatus right now because of the All-Star game, and
Yeah,
Bob Busser, the host, he's going to be at the Hall of Fame and everything like that. So we're on hiatus right now for probably a week or two. So,
well,
but
thanks for.
I will be in contact with you, and we'll be ponying up payback time.
I would love it. I will return the favor. You can bank on that. Jim, appreciate it as always, my friend.
It was my pleasure. Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy.